Today we're going to be talking about the importance of beta readers. My editing work on my self-editing work on my second novel has hit kind of a stagnant point. I've just been looking at it a little too much, to be quite honest, and I could tell I was missing some of the finer points that I needed to be working on with the novel. So I decided to send it out to two of my faithful beta readers. Now, beta readers typically are not friends or family members. You want to have beta readers who are interested in your genre as well as have some experience giving feedback, and someone that either knows the writing industry or knows what to look for within a story. My two beta readers happen to be friends, but that's because they're also writers, and I know what kind of things they write. I know what they read, and I know they give me honest and transparent, valuable feedback. So I sent my second manuscript to them a couple of weeks ago, and my friend Tracy, she got back to me. She was actually here to visit me, so she was giving me some in-person feedback, which was great, since she doesn't live in my state typically. She's just visiting. And so I thought her feedback was so great that I thought I need to make a video about this to let other writers kind of know what to expect, or what they should be asking. Um, you should have someone read your manuscript before it goes out into the world. I know there are a lot of indie published, self-published authors out there who just write, they self-edit, and then they publish it. I would like to encourage you to not do that. You might think also that because I'm an editor, my writing is perfection. Um, I I obviously self-edit. I obviously go through it, go through my manuscripts before I submit them or do anything with them. However, even as an editor, I'm too close to my own work, so I cannot separate myself from it. I don't see things that someone who has no direct ties to it will see. Also, I use crutch words. I know what my crutch words are, so just that, different things. Um, so I know to look for them, but sometimes you don't know what they are. But when a reader reads it, they will be able to point those out to you. You use this word a lot. You use this word incorrectly. Or they just might point out things that you just didn't see before. We tend to gloss over things in our stories because we just assume our reader will be aligned with the voices in our heads. In our head, they aren't. Okay. So I have a problem with ellipses. I have a problem sometimes with em dashes. Sometimes I utilize those two things a little too much. So I have several beta readers to get back to me about it. So I want to go down a list of things. And now actually this checklist that I'm going to go over today, it is available in my book, my editing book that I have, and I'll leave a link to that below, so that you could have this printed out. You can also subscribe to my newsletter, excuse me, and then send me an email and I will send you this checklist as well. But I just thought, let's go over some of these things that you want to be asking your beta readers when you send to them. So it isn't just send your manuscript to someone and say, hey, give me your feedback. You're going to get pretty nebulous feedback back from them. Okay. They're not going to maybe give you what you're actually needing or requiring back. So I now, the beta readers that I use, I don't send this checklist to anymore because they know what kind of feedback I need. But if I were using a new beta reader, I would give this checklist. First of all, I have a little list. First thing I want them to do is give me an overall picture, an overall idea of what they feel about the story. I also want them to connect maybe about the title. Now, this second manuscript that I'm working on, I don't have a title yet. So I did ask these two beta readers if they would give me some ideas about um, what title they think might work. They're both still working on that. So we don't have an exact title yet, but it's a work in progress. So the book doesn't have its actual theme yet. So an overall idea of how they thought about it, what they did the plot work? Is the story working? Does the characters work? Um, what do they think my purpose is? What do they think this story is about? What do they think is what I would hope my readers will take away? If they're saying to me what they think the takeaway is and what I think the takeaway is are completely different, I have not done my job. So I have to go back and figure that out. Um, I ask my beta readers to talk to me about the writing quality. Again, I'm an editor, I'm a pretty advanced writer, but there are still some things that I have problems with. So I've asked them to point that out and point out the quality of writing. Do they feel it's on the level of for the genre and the reader age that I tend to have, what my ideal readers' age demographics are? Would it reach that audience? I asked them about the structure and the organization and the pacing. Tracy, my beta reader, happened to let me know that my pacing is a little bit slow in this second book. So she felt it needed to move along a little bit more quickly. She encouraged me to cut, not really cut things out at the beginning, like the first half of the book, but condense them to just keep them moving a little bit at a quicker pace to get to another portion of my book that she felt I needed to get to sooner. Um, contact, content impact. So, how do they think this book will be received by readers? What do they think readers will think of this? Will it have a good impact? Is there a hopeful message? I like my books to have a hopeful message. So the message that I want my readers to have, do they feel like that will have the impact it needs to be? Then I also ask them, this is not a comprehensive section, but I ask them to do some proofreading if they see anything that I'm doing more often than not. My other beta reader, Jill, she tends to let me know when I have missed commas, especially using two independent sentences with a chord with a conjunction. Um, she lets me know, hey, comma is needed here. So I kind of trust in her to help me with all of that. Obviously, I'm not asking them to look at every bit of proofreading. These are beta readers. This is a really rough draft most of the time. But if there's something that's ongoing, there's something that they see I do all the time, I would like them to point that out to me so that I can watch for it. Also, just then a summary, an overall, what do you think of the book? Is this something you would want to read? What do you think of the characters? If there's any kind of um, weakness in characters, Tracy tends to point out to me the characters that she loves, that she would like me to maybe beef up a little bit more. There was one character in particular in the second novel that she really likes. So she told me, beef her up. She wants to know more about her. She wants to know, wants her kind of input more in the story. She feels like she's this matriarchal character that needs to be kind of brought out a little bit more. So I'm going to look at doing that. She also liked another character who I was just put in really as a secondary character, kind of to just be there. But she really liked her and wanted her to be a little bit more in the forefront. So you take all of those things into consideration then when you get your manuscript back so that you can work on all of those things and decide if you think they're right or not. Now, this happens, Tracy's feedback, I have not gotten Jill's yet for this manuscript. Tracy's feedback on this second manuscript that she's worked on for me was spot on. I knew exactly the things that I knew they were wrong before she told me they were wrong. I just needed someone else's input to kind of say, you need to work on this. There needs to be more here. There needs to be less here. You're focusing on the wrong thing, or this character needs to be brought out more. I kind of knew all of the things that Tracy told me, but it was helpful to hear her feedback to know kind of exactly, not even so much that it was wrong or that it was weak, but how to fix it. She gave me some ideas about how to fix that. So you want to ask your beta readers all of those questions. Again, you can get a copy of this checklist by getting my book or subscribing for my newsletter. And it's just a way to like kind of give them structure, a beta reader structure to say, These are the things that I am looking for. Now, you don't want to lead them. You want to give them this bulleted list of, okay, tell me how you feel about this. Tell me how you feel about this. Tell me. You don't really want to lead them and say, you want that honest feedback. You want like fresh. I gave them very little when I sent them the manuscript. They knew I'd been working on this book. They knew it was a continuation of my first book. That's due out here at the beginning of 2024, but they didn't really know anything else about this book. They didn't know the characters involved. They didn't know my plot. I didn't give them any of that. Now, some beta readers will want some kind of synopsis. I tend to not like to give too much because I want that like a visceral initial feedback when they're getting back to me. I want to know like just exactly what their thoughts were on it. And Tracy's really great at that, and Jill is really great at kind of the technical stuff of that. So beta readers, you should have different beta readers too. I usually suggest more than two. I'll probably have someone else look at this once it's a little bit further along to give me some more feedback. 3 to 5 is a good number of beta readers. A lot of people ask me, where do you find beta readers? So I happen to have groups of authors that I am in connection with because I go to conferences. I have a writer's critique group that I'm a part of here in my town. So I have this network of people. If you are writing in a vacuum and you are not surrounding yourself with other writerly types, my first suggestion would be surround yourself with some writers. Come out of your shell, come out of your den of where you're writing. I know that it's a solitary hobby for many of us to write kind of in our little cocoons. But you do need to step out of that every once in a while to learn some new things and to meet some new people, to get some fresh ideas, to get feedback. So try and join a critique group or go to a writer's conference. There's a lot of online, like one-day conferences where you could meet people. Even though it's online, you often still have access in a chat alongside, whatever, if it's in Zoom. Try and join some of those things. I have a Facebook group called Writers Helping Writers, which I will link down below as well. This is a great place to meet some people. It is an online forum. It is on Facebook, a group. It is not, there's no genre affiliated with this. It's not a Christian group, even though I'm Christian. It's writers from all over the world and all different genres. So, and they just ask each other questions. Sometimes I have some members of that group say, I need a beta reader for, and they list whatever their book is. And then people reply, I would like to help you with that. I'll do that. Sometimes there's an exchange of services. Sometimes there's an exchange of, well, I'll beta read for you if you beta read for me. There is sometimes money. Sometimes you pay a beta reader. There are some professional beta readers that ask for money. I do not know how much they charge because I've never done that. I've never paid a beta reader. I have a network that I can utilize. You can, of course, beta reading is a career, is a service that people offer that you would pay for, just like you would editing. So you could also look on, I would suggest Readsy or some other writerly platform to find, or in these groups if you're online. Facebook is probably a great place to find all sorts of groups. You can look up romance genre critique groups. You can look up fantasy critique groups. If you're in fantasy, if you've not been to the Realm Makers conference, you should. And they have online groups. There are American Christian fiction writers groups and pen writers groups, and all these different groups online. So you just have to do a little legwork and then ask within these groups if there are beta readers available. And I would suggest do some beta reading yourself. Be willing to open yourself up for that. One, then you can kind of swap beta reading services and you'll learn kind of what you need for your own feedback once you start giving feedback. Or the feedback you get will help you be informed to be a better beta reader. And then you can kind of, you could even sell your services at that point once you learned how to do it well. So again, this goes back to critique groups too. I've had a video about critique groups. So beta readers, sometimes people call them alpha readers. The two that I'm using right now for my manuscript are technically alpha readers. They're because of the first readers. There's different connotations with the alpha and beta monikers. I tend to just call them all beta readers. They're like my test readers. But these sometimes are called alpha readers. They'd be your first, like, really rough draft, which this really is a very rough draft that I sent to them. So think about all of those things. So as you're moving along, writing your manuscript, and I know a lot of you are participating in National Novel Writing Month when I'm uploading this video this week. So you need to start thinking about, who can I run this past when I'm done? And start garnering and making connections, networking yourself. All of these writers that you'll connect with later as you go along, as you start building these networks, you're going to utilize them for many other things. So that is my first and best advice, is to start networking, start finding some other people to connect with that are writers, especially within your genre, who understand and maybe are a step above where you are in your writing career. Someone who has been through a beta reading process, has been through a publishing process already. You want to have people that are at different levels than you are, so that you can kind of help each other out. You'll learn from them, and as more people come along, you'll teach them as you work up the ladder. So these are my tips about finding a beta reader. And again, if you want to know more, you can sign up for my newsletter and get this beta reader checklist that I talked about today. And also I have a blog about this too that I'll link below, lots of links. So check out all those links below. And if you found this helpful, please smash the like button and subscribe so you can get all of my future videos, and check out some of my other videos. Have a great day.